little sucker.
We're out here on a small lake in Brainerd Lakes area, and what we're doing is we're fishing crappies out a little bit deeper today.
Yeah, so those crappies and bluegills, they were up on in 2 to 4 feet of water up on the shoreline in the muddy bays. But with this cold front, they're actually moving out off onto the weed lines and the first breaks. And with this colder water, they're biting a lot more finicky. So we're downsizing everything down to like a 64th ounce Northland tungsten fireball jig. And they're also using some really tiny plastics like the Juice Bait's Ballsy, just so that when they're biting it real light, they're able to eat it a little bit better. And so we're getting a lot more fish doing that way.
I'm using a little Northland gill getter. It's 164 ounce with a little tiny hook. And it's almost what I'd be using like ice fish. I'm using that with the little Juice Bait's Ballsy, just a little tiny 1-inch bait. And now once that water warms up, you can upgrade a little bit because they're actually feeding on minnows and you want to represent a minnow. But now that the water's cool off and they're starting to stage back out like where they were in the winter, you want to downsize a lot, like what you'd use in the winter, a small wax worm or a small plastic.
Yeah, and so when you're downsizing these plastics and jigs, really to figure it out, we missed a pile of fish. They'd grab the bait and they'd pull your float under, and then they'd just spit it, and you weren't able to get a hook into them. So we figured out when you're downsizing it with the cold front, they're eating it and they're holding on to it a lot better than with the bigger baits. And also when you're downsizing, you want to use a split shot to get away from the boat so you're not spooking the fish. And you know, you're getting a lot more bites that way also. When you're next to the boat, these fish get real spooky, so we're throwing it out there and we're just letting it marinate, not giving it too much action. There's a little ripple, so these waves shake your float a little bit, and that's helping out a lot.
And now you're almost using what you use in the winter.
It's a little sucker. Yeah, so that one again, we were just using another bobber rig, and then that was on a Northland, just a little tiny Northland jig with the Juice Bait's 2-inch crayfish actually. So it's a little bit bigger profile, but yet not too big. I'll get this one back right here.